Welcome to Radical Underdogs and welcome to Brands Hatch for race 1 of the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Clubman Championship. Sounds like a mouthful, but you know what? Being in 6th place means there's not that many cars ahead of us. I think this is the best qualifying I think I've ever done? Question? I don't know. I'm going to have a look at my previous videos if you think I've done better, but I don't think I have in terms of qualifying at least. My best ever position I think was last time out around this position as well, so this year has been a great start. No time to think about that as the lights go on the gantry now, and they are about to go out. That's a quick lights out and we are away. Paul Simard next to us in 52, we're already past him, so up to 5th position as we go down into the first corner of Paddock Bend, and going down for the first time, got Jamie Turner now behind us. I think Paul Simard has lost out quite heavily in that, and we're already on the tail there of I think Jake Pace. Jake Pace has come from miles back on the grid. I think he was 8th, well, not miles back, 2 places behind us, but he's round around the outside into Paddock Hill Bend, and he is keeping that position as we go down to Graham Hill Bend. Behind us there's a bit of a gap forming as side by side through Graham Hill we were one at a time, which means as you can see on the exit, loads of time gained. So just looking forward now, you can see the front of the race. This is definitely the best ever start I've had. Well, maybe not compared to last time, but definitely the best season start. This is the 3rd race of the season. Going down on the we're going to just following line astern as we go over the start finish straight for the first time. It's a very short track here at Brands Hatch, which means that things come around really quick. It's a great track to spectate on. As you can see, the grandstands up on the left can get a view most of the circuit. Cars swapping and fighting up ahead. This is helping us stay in touch. People going down to the inside there and not quite finding a way past this Jake Pace. But he left the door open, but not going through this time. But actually losing a bit of ground there. You can see I was a bit conservative going through Graham Hill and then down up through Druids, which means behind us, if we switch the camera to look behind us, we've got Jamie Turner who's going to go down on the inside at Surtees. This is flat out in the MX-5. They're both flat. We're going to stick foot down to the pedal, sticking down on the inside and managing to keep the position. And certainly a bit more aggression this year. I think in previous years I probably would have given that position up, and Jamie Turner probably knows that. He's raced against me for several years now and probably thought he had that position in the bag, but he's going to give it another go as we go down start finish straight. The track opens up on the inside. He's gone down to the inside on Paddock Hill and he's got the shallower line, so we're going to try and do the switcheroo as we go up the hill up to Druids, and definitely got the inside line here, definitely far enough alongside to be given racing room, and more than enough space given by Jamie, and on the exit we are ahead and remaining in this position. So positions swapping but staying where we are. You can see what I'm trying to do there is tell Jamie to kind of work together, because if you look at the front we are losing touch, that fighting, but up ahead they come together. So it's facing the other direction and just missed, and there's more cars coming together up front as well. That's in the gravel, Jordan Pimley and Del Pace, which means we're going across the start finish line. There's red flag, understandably. There's cars facing every single direction here. You can actually see a car quite badly into the wall on the start finish straight. Actually you can see the marshals here doing a really brave job as the field's coming through just as the red flag goes out, because there's a driver still in that car. They've gone into the wall quite heavily on the inside there. So it's a red flag. Time to catch our breath. It's not entirely clear when the red flag came out. There was definitely the contact between Jordan Pimley and Del Pace, and when there's a count back, etc. Anyway, we are now starting 3rd. The front row is empty, so Jack Warrior's ahead at the start. We are starting 3rd place and already ahead of Jake Pace, and we've got Jonathan Greensmith down probably from qualified 11th. He's now up to 3rd. He's definitely on for the win for this race. He's looking at the outside of Druids onto the first time of this restarted MX-5 Clubman race. We are still in 2nd position. I have never been racing in 2nd position. I'm determined to keep it down into Graham Hill, not trying a move here. The problem, of course, if we fight too much for this 2nd position, Jack Worry will just drive away in this Mazda race. It is difficult to drive away in a Mazda race because the slipstream is pretty powerful, although Brands Hatch, with all these twisty and turny corners, slightly less powerful than a circuit that we've just been at, like Silverstone. So finishing lap 1, and we are in second position. Can we keep this? I think it's going to be a pretty tough order, especially with Johnny Greensmith behind us. He is going to the track widens out here on the inside. You've got car left and right of us. So we've got Jake Pace on the outside, Johnny Greensmith on the inside. I've kind of just not really sure what I was doing there, and I've lost 2 positions. And I think that is the rears. You can see actually also going wide there and losing 2 positions in 2 corners. We are down to the 4th position. I think it's just a bit, and also Drover driving the car a little bit through Graham Hill. No harm done. There's a wheel out on the grass, but we've lost quite a lot of time here. So it needs to kind of, almost you can see swapping the steering wheel there. Driving on the edge of traction here. You can see I'm just trying to give myself a bit more motivation as we go over the start-finish line. I know I'm in the best position I've ever had. It's a great opportunity with a couple of fast cars out of the race. Martin Tolley also out for on the restart. He would have been in second position starting alongside Jack Worry, but had a mechanical issue and then was actually pushed off the grid for that restart. So we have got a great opportunity here to score some really good points for our championship run. Obviously, we're not looking to win this championship. Yeah, if you've watched these videos before, you'll know that typically in the last couple of years I've been mid-pack. So on a grid like this today with I think 35 cars, I would be down in sort of 15th position. But over the last year, definitely found a bit of pace both in myself and in the car. I've rebuilt the engine over the winter. Those of you who've been following the channel will know that. Seems to be performing really well. I also had some driver training with Jordan Pimley, who was again he's not out of this race. He managed to get started from the pit lane because of the long stoppage under the red flag. He was deemed eligible to start, but he did start from the pit lane. So Jordan is making his way up through the field, and that contact between him and Del Pace was as a result of pad knockoff going into the last into McLaren. Jordan does apologise for that after the race, so he does end up with a penalty though. But Jordan's been doing some excellent driver training with us, and that has probably helped us get a bit faster. And you can see I'm actually able to stick with this front pack here, losing a little bit of time. We're running in 4th position, but in a solid 4th. We're not being caught particularly quickly by the cars behind us. I think Paul Simard and Jamie Turner are the cars behind us, and they are having a bit of a ding-dong battle, which is massively helping us stay in this position. As I say, the slipstream is quite powerful in the MX-5 racing series, and cars that work together can certainly catch cars that are in front. It doesn't look like they are working together, if I'm honest. They are swapping places each lap, which means that I'm able to keep in this position despite having no cars to work with. What I mean by working together is not just the slipstream effect, but that slipstream effect also works for the car in front. If you work together, and bump drafting, by the way, is technically, it's a non-contact sport, of course, so technically not legal in the racing sense of the word, but bump drafting is a recognised tactic that people will use as a group, and that's literally the car behind bumping the car in front to give them a little extra speed down the straight. So you can see I'm slightly overdriving this car. Back through, if you rewind that, you'll see sideways basically through 30s, a really nasty moment. Definitely don't want to lose it here because the cars are thick and fast behind us and they're really close together. So if you end up phasing the wrong direction, you're probably 10, 12, 15 positions down. So absolutely need to keep this on the black stuff to keep this good position. As I say, 4th, I think the best ever position if I finish 4th, it will be definitely the best ever I've finished. Getting on for podium positions. Last year I had the aim to get a top 10 finish, and I managed that, but at the time I had never had one. And this year I finished nothing but the top 10. So a very different year this year, and much of that is, I think, down partly to the engine, but also down to the driver training, like I say. Now going through, the race is starting to settle a bit. It's a bit frantic still, and the tyres are starting to go off. You can see I'm losing touch with Johnny Greensmith in front. He is pulling away at, I don't know, something like half a second a lap here, and is becoming much more distant figure in the distance over there, going through Paddock Hill now. And behind us, for some reason, I can see I'm just not able to get the car carrying the same speed through Paddock Hill that I was earlier in the race. I think the pressures I'm running are a little bit too high, and after this race I do bring them down a couple of PSI. Fortunately behind us they are still fighting, so the fact that the tyres are slightly going off here is not impacting our ability to stay in fourth position. It's just one of those things that you have to kind of, if I had a day testing yesterday, I'd probably have a better idea as to where the tyre pressures are going to be, but that didn't happen. I went straight into qualifying for Brands Hatch, and that's mostly down to budget constraints. So I'm just trying to keep the budget relatively low for this series this year, which means I can't do a test day every single weekend. So this time at Brands Hatch didn't do a test day, and most of the cars around me did, so they do have an advantage in that respect. And Snetterton I won't be doing a test day either, which is the race coming up. You can see just a little bit on the edge of the track. You've got a car facing the other direction down Paddock Hill. That is the first lapped car, and I think that was 555 of Lear Jacobs, but I'm not sure. We have to go back and look at that. So they are facing, I think they get going again, so they are back in the race, but that certainly makes it easy to pass the first lapped car. Most of the time in these races, it's 15-minute races, you don't tend to pass lap cars, but because of course, you can see I'm just talking to myself really, because I'm really struggling to keep the power down through Surtees. You saw earlier a bit of a tank slapper through Surtees, and at this point in the race with the tyres how they are, I am lifting a little bit as we go through Surtees, and that is not the fastest way through that corner, and I know that I am going to get caught if the two behind us stop fighting and start working together, or if there's a clear winner in that fight. You can see behind us side by side as they go through Paddock Hill Bend, and that is the Frenchman Paul Simard, who is now ahead, and he will be hot on my tail pretty darn quickly because I'm missing the apex once again at Druids. I think that's if you've been keeping count, maybe the third time in a row I've done that. I'm not using all the track on the exit. Certainly it's just the driving's a little bit raggedy now. Not too bad through Graham Hill, but I am struggling to keep the pace up here. Cars up ahead going slow. Oh, that's a lapped car. We're going to have to get past here. Not caught them at the best part of the circuit, but they're nicely out of the way. Just driving nice and sensibly and predictably is the key point. They didn't jump out the way and do something unpredictable. That was car number 60 of Stephen Davies. Nicely getting out the way of the leaders as we go over the start-finish straight. We did lose some time. Paul Simard is going to be catching us now at a rate of knots. I think they caught him in a slightly better position, and you can see not taking quite as much speed. I'm not using all the circuit out on Paddock Hill. I'm just losing a bit of confidence in the car, which is, and again, missing the apex terribly. Oh no, not too bad actually. I think it was just a camera angle on that one, so not missing it too badly that time, but going down into Graham Hill, and you can see how much more speed Paul Simard can take through the Graham Hill bend as we go up to Surtees. And again, I am you can see a little bit of a lift. I don't think Paul is having to do the same. Again, just the pressures on these tyres are a little bit too high, and just the overheating a little bit too much. I have got the better shaved tyres this year, and they are much better. The shave is just like night and day, the difference between this tyre. But you can see Paul Simard, no time to talk about shaving tyres. They're getting a little bit of a bump draft down the start-finish straight, and he's going to the outside. He's not going to make it through there, but we're going to be slow as we go through Paddock Hill Bend. He's back through on the inside, done the switcheroo like we did earlier on Jamie Turner. Back through on the inside, up down to Druids. Now I need to be careful here not to lose two positions, and because Jamie Turner will take advantage, he will pounce. I think this might be the last lap of the race. We've got lapped cars coming up as well, so it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be just a matter of where we catch them. both gone through not too bad through Graham Hill. I think Paul didn't get quite the same exit, but he's definitely got the better traction. Both cars nicely out of the way. We've got Jamie Turner behind us. He's going to look to find his way through. This is the last set of corners of the race. Going to shut the door in his face. There is no way through at McLaren. And we go through Clark Curve. And it's going to be a drag race to the line, but we've got much better... Well, we're ahead on the exit. I don't know, it's a better exit. But we are going over the start-finish line. That is the checkered flag. And pretty happy about that result. I think best ever result for me. And you might have been able to see, actually, the arm restraints I'm wearing this time are... Well, they're a bit of a safety device, but they stop me waving to the marshals like I'd like to. So I'm just trying to take that off. Those arm restraints are there to stop your arms flailing about outside the cockpit if you roll over and get knocked out, and so therefore saving your arm. I haven't raced with them before. It was okay. It was fine. I think the balance of the safety versus the inconvenience was okay. All right, thanks very much. Catch you again next time.